you will be replacing Dr Maliki Osman in East Coast, and East Coast we know is one of the hot seats in terms of GE contest lah, right? I mean, he's played quite a big role in many ministries, you know. How has the experience been so far, you know, needing to fill in the shoes of such a big personality, you know, that are you feeling the weight of it yet?
I mean, I'll start by saying that I don't think anybody can replace anybody, much less a giant like Dr. Maliki. The good fortune I've had is working with Dr. Maliki over decades to really strengthen the support that we can for the community, right? And on that front, Dr. Maliki is known for his warmth, for his kindness, and really for his supporting younger leaders to sort of take the opportunity to be empowered, right, to run some initiatives. So I would say that it's been really encouraging meeting with the residents and having Dr. Maliki there to lend his support, to motivate, to cheer on, really helps during this time where we are really doing our best to connect and really get to know the residents. Beyond the portfolios that Dr. Maliki has held over his many years in public service, he's really known for being the MP who cares, talking to his residents and really trying to help the many ways that he can. And I think that's the quality of being a representative of the people. So I look forward to learning a lot more from Dr. Maliki from here on in.
Right. What sort of issues do you think you'll be championing if you are elected?
Well, I've always been championing the cause of women, families and children over the past decade or so as a community volunteer. That has always been top of mind for me. I think families, like Minister Edwin earlier said, is really the bedrock of society. You always start with having safe, stable homes, resilient homes, so that you can achieve at home and beyond. I think with the newer, younger families, we're seeing sort of a renewed commitment to shared aspirations. You know, we see, I personally am super heartened to see a lot more partners really discussing their goals as a unit and really having a plan as to how to live lives together. It's not a zero-sum game. It's not a quid pro quo. Having been in the social impact space, the drive for me is really to be able to help or rather support the corporate sector, right, in envisioning what is the social impact that they each want to make. I think Singapore has really been encouraging businesses to be better, and I really look forward to these opportunities.
Previously, you were walking the ground around the Marine Parade area, and then now you are in East Coast.
We just said, come over lah, East Coast, very good. Come with me.
Well, I'll start by saying that I grew up in the north, right?
Oh, okay.
I live in the north. My mom is still there. My family is still there. But the east, especially the East Coast, is special to every Singaporean. You would have gone to East Coast for a bit of a family time or to hang out with your classmates, right? It's a local destination. It is an area where the charity that I serve with, VPIS, as you know, has a lot of centres. So it's a very familiar ground. And as somebody who has been serving the community in those spaces, it really feels like there is a whole ecosystem there in the East, right, that is needed for the community. So when the opportunity came to be able to lend support and serve as needed, I was happy to take up the opportunity with Dr. Maliki's guidance and Min Edwin's as well. You know, I always believe we are where we are because, you know, we were meant to be where we are by the big man above, right? So I took that as a sign.
There's this other part of being a Malay candidate, if elected Malay MP, not just the national role that you have to balance it also with your community role, right? Mr. Maliki has been there for decades, right? So how do you see yourself as a Malay leader championing perhaps some issues close to the hearts of the Malay community?
Well, I'll start by saying that we all have multiple identities, whether as a young person, as a parent, as a female, as a minority. And I've always believed that for us to be a holistic person, we have to embrace all of our identities, and I do that proudly. I've had the opportunity to work very closely with community leaders, and really the love for the community and building it started for me actually as a journalist. Because as a young journalist, you and I would chase stories together, I remember, on certain community events.
I was just telling you about stories back then.
Yeah? I remember, back in the day.
Lucky she says stories, huh?
Reports. Actually, I definitely have seen Hadi on the trail when we are reporting on community stories. And when you get the opportunity to really be the voice of the community as media at that time, you really get to know the community better, and you fall in love with it a little bit more, and you care for it a little bit more, and you have skin in the game. You want to make that difference. Through journalism, I met community leaders and volunteers who really inspired me to want to do something about it. And when the opportunity came, I started volunteering. And it was an experience that changed my life, being a part of the community and building it from within. So I hope the connections that I've made, the good advice that we've traded, the heart-to-heart sharing and really building a community would go a long way on this journey.
I give you a perspective on your point about Hadi. You made the point about how Dr. Maliki has been there for decades, and then now Has steps into that role, right? So in my first term in 2011, I was asked to take over from Dr. Lee Boon Yang. And Dr. Lee had, at a point in time, served the same constituency for 26 years. And of course, everyone knows Dr. Lee. He was a minister for many years and very respected. I was a bit worried taking over from someone filling those shoes of a giant. But with each moment, I realized that the structure of the institution, the party in particular, and the branch is meant to serve the residents. And if you start from that perspective, then in some ways it matters less, not irrelevant, but it matters less who steps in, because the structure is there and is designed over many years to serve the needs of residents, put their welfare first. And when you start from that perspective, I think it makes a big difference. Of course, the other thing I learned is, the goodwill, the trust, the respect is not transferable. It's got to be earned afresh. But if you are sincere, you take time to work with the grassroots, the activists, the volunteers, and you put residents at the heart of what you want to achieve, then I think taking over from someone who's been there for many decades, as you put it, is not insurmountable. In fact, in some ways, there's a lot of stability in the system because it's been helmed by someone like Dr. Maliki for many years. So I think Has can do that.
How was your reaction when you were told that initially you're walking the ground in Marine Parade, after that in East Coast? I guess all constituencies will be hotly contested, but there are others will be more hot than others lah. So Marine Parade, East Coast, especially East Coast now that you're in. How do you react to? Or you rather wish to be in places like, Ang Mo Kio?
Well, we always say every school is a good school, every constituency is a good constituency. I think for me, it's really about understanding that as one person, you add value to the team, right? And if you're able to add value to the team, then it is on us to really be a part and contribute to the team. So I knew coming in that there were many possibilities as to where you are fielded, depends on where you are needed. And I also believe that, again, right, we are where we're meant to be for a reason.
Hadi, you're sort of implicit in your question. You're suggesting that East Coast will be harder than Marine Parade. I think that's, if I didn't read that wrongly. But let me share a perspective with you, right? I look after Joo Chiat constituency. It was Marine Parade. Following your logic, perhaps the easier thing to do is stay in Marine Parade, right? And let East Coast absorb Joo Chiat. But my own view was, I've spent 10 years at Joo Chiat. I built up a relationship with my Joo Chiat residents. And I am in the middle of projects. We are building a new CC. We have plans for cycling paths. We have infra upgrades coming up. Siglap and Frankel estates are about to undergo a massive, large-scale estate upgrading, one which we had pushed on for many years, lobbied M&D for many years. We recently also secured upgrade for Telok parts of Telok estate. So these to me are unfinished projects on hardware, but also at the same point in time, still building relationship with people on the ground. So I decided that I would prefer to go with Juchet to East Coast, and I asked my boss whether that can be done. Yes, it's harder by your logic and by your question, but I feel that we also have to serve where you can add value. And it's not about whether the electoral outcome or the process will be harder or not harder, but to me, it's about serving in the place where I'm used to, 10 years of work there and relationships that have been formed. And I do feel that it will be disruptive to my residents at Juchet if, because of this change, there's a change in the local representation. So to the extent possible, I would like to continue serving the Juchet residents, and if that means going to East Coast, which by your definition is harder, then so be it. We do that.